This is Rick Party with Rick Party's Notebook, news from around the world and in our communities from my perspective.
I mean, he can't do the prologue to the Constitution of the United States or the Declaration of Independence, any of them. He can't do numbers. Wow, are the numbers screwed up. He actually displays symptoms that two gerontologists told me are classic symptoms of middle-level dementia. Right. That's when he does that, I pledge allegiance to the United States. I think done that twice.
That's former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani speaking negatively about Joe Biden, saying that he believes he has dementia because he's talked to experts. And he comes to this conclusion because Biden stutters. Now, every election year, people sling mud at each other. But Trump is nonstop. They say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Well, Giuliani and Trump are peas in a pod. They're friends. Remember when Trump said this about a reporter? And it wasn't even an election year.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said.
This man can't lead our country. Nah, he ain't the one. This is not someone who I would want my child to look up to. Not at all. You know, quite honestly, this reminds me of myself. When I get a little nervous, I stutter a bit. And it's been that way since I was a kid. I mean, I was a quiet, introverted child. I mean, I'm still an introvert to an extent. And what a lot of American people don't know, and what Trump clearly doesn't understand, is that that's Joe Biden's real issue. He stuttered as a child, and every now and then it comes out.
I didn't have professional help, but I had three things going for me. I had a mother who had a backbone like a ramrod, and she'd go, Joey, look at me. Look at me, Joey. You're handsome, you're smart, you're a good athlete, Joey. Don't let this define you, Joey. Remember who you are, Joey. You can do it. And so every time I'd walk out, she'd reinforce me. I know that sounds silly, but it really matters. The worst thing a parent can do is finish the kid's sentence. Mom, I want. You want what? Don't finish their sentences, number one. Number two, what I found was I practiced. You know, all my colleagues kid me, as you heard, about always quoting Irish poets. Well, I had a book of Yeats poetry because my uncle Ed Finnegan loved Yeats. And we had a small bedroom with 4 bunks in it. I mean, 2 bunks, it's 4 beds. And occasionally he was a traveling salesman. When he'd be down in Delaware, he'd sleep with us. And he'd have, and I'd get up in the middle of the night with a flashlight. And I'd look in the mirror. And I would try to memorize what I could in another small book on Emerson quotes. I remember the first one, looking in the mirror with a flashlight in my face because you get embarrassed because you can torch your face. And it's embarrassing. And so I'd stand there and say, meek young men, grow up in libraries, believing in the duties to accept the words of Cicero, Bacon, and Locke, forgetful that Cicero, Bacon, and Locke were only young men in libraries with themselves. Or, you know, history teaches us not to hope on this side of the grave, but then once in a lifetime, that longed-for tidal wave of justice rises up, and hope and history rhyme. I would practice and practice and practice because I was determined to overcome it. I was led to believe I could, and I basically did.
He said he was led to believe that he could, and he did. And of course, at his height, he became the vice president of the United States. Now he runs for president of the United States of America. That inspires so many people to speak up and speak out, like it did for Braden Harrington, the 13-year-old who stutters.
Hi, my name is Braden Harrington, and I'm 13 years old. And without Joe Biden, I wouldn't be talking to you today. About a few months ago, I met him in New Hampshire. He told me that we were members of the same club. We stutter. It was really amazing to hear that someone like me became vice president. He told me about a book of poems by Yeats he would read out loud to practice. He showed me how he marks his addresses to make them easier to say out loud. So I did the same thing today. And now I'm here talking to you today about the future, about our future. My family often says when the world feels better before talking about something normal, like going to the movies. We all want the world to feel better. We need the world to feel better. I'm just a regular kid, and in a short amount of time, Joe Biden made me more confident about something that's bothered me my whole life. Joe Biden cared. Imagine what he could do for all of us. Kids like me are counting on you to elect someone we can all look up to. Someone who cares. Someone who will make our country and the world feel better.
So whomever he asks you to vote for, the end of that part, I cut it out. But the person that you elect for president of the United States of America, they need to be able to lead. Lead by example. That's all I got in my notebook for Rick Party's Notebook. News from around the world and in our communities from my perspective.